But we're starting off the video. This video is going to be a little different. We're doing the death row meals from famous serial killers. And before we start off the video, I just want to say we are not like putting power to these people. We don't like celebrate these type of people, but it is history, and regardless if it's good history and bad history, people want to know. That's why there's documentaries about these people and stuff like that. So first meal we have is Ted Bundy's.
Ted Bundy was a serial killer who killed at least 30, targeting women and young girls. He would lure them in with his charm, or faking an injury, or also personating an authority figure. Before getting the electric chair, Ted Bundy refused the last meal. So the person gave him what was traditional: a steak, home fries, 2 pieces of toast with jelly, milk, juice, and 2 eggs. Bundy's last words were, "I would like for you to give my family and friends my love."
Bro, we have Ted Bundy's meal. He had a steak, home fries. I tried my best to cook these, bro. Eggs, toast with jelly, juice. It never clarified what type of juice, so I just got any type of juice I got, and then a glass of milk. So Ted Bundy was an American serial killer who kidnapped and dozens of young women during the 1970s and possibly earlier. 30 murderers that were like found, but like till this day they don't know the exact number of how many people he ended up killing. And the reason why he ended up getting caught, he went through trial a couple times, and the reason why he ended up getting caught was the bite mark on his bottom teeth. It lined up perfectly with one of the victims had a scar of his teeth, so that's how he ended up getting caught. Died through the electric chair. So, and like everybody knows, when you die you get like a last meal. Like some states are different though, that like some states don't do last meals, but most of them do. So this is his last meal. Like I said, we got steak, home fries, 2 eggs, toast, jelly, some juice, and milk. So let's try up the meal. We'll see what this is, dude. I don't even know if this shit's fully cooked. I kind of like rushed it. Bite. Tastes like fucking ass, bro. I definitely didn't cook this shit right. This shit don't even taste like steak, bro. This might not be steak. This don't taste like steak. This is a different part of the cow. It's not steak. I know it's not. Also, if you guys didn't know, there actually was a show about Ted Bundy, and the guy that played him was Zac Efron. So it's like crazy how like serial killers end up getting shows. A little while back, if you guys remember, everyone was talking about the Jeffrey Dahmer show. That show was popping on Netflix. It's crazy about like what humans like to watch. Like it's crazy that we like watching that type of stuff, but it is so interesting and shit like that. But at the same time, like I said, bro, even though it's bad history, it's still history, and like everybody wants to know history. Like even like the Holocaust and shit, nobody wants to remember that, but you need to remember history. You know what I mean? That's the whole reason why we have history, so it doesn't repeat. You know what I mean? So yeah, shows are definitely crazy, and that like it's crazy how like people can get away for that long, especially back then. Like nowadays, I don't think they would be able to get away for that long. But yeah, dude, he was doing it over like he had 30 victims, and that it might be more, it might be less. They don't know. It's not accurate. With this meal, and let's go over to John Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown. He would dress up as one for kids' birthday parties, charity events, and fundraisers. He murdered at least 30 young men and boys. There was 26 of them in his crawl space. Before the lethal injection, his last meal was strawberries, fries, fried shrimp, and KFC. His last words were, "Kiss my ass."
And now, like I said before, we're on the John Wayne Gacy. Here, he got strawberries, shrimp, fried shrimp, and also KFC. And I'm pretty sure he owned a couple KFC. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did own like part KFC, or he worked in a KFC or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure. The only thing we forgot was the fries. It's whatever though. We have everything else. But used to be a clown. He used to go to like kids' birthday parties and shit. That was prior to when they ended up finding out about like all of his murders and stuff like that. He's like one of the most known serial killers. Like him, Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, and Ted Bundy are like the most known. There's a documentary on him on Netflix too. And also, while he was in prison, one of the guards, he had like a slip, and one of the guards like liked him, and he would draw like paintings and stuff like that. He would draw paintings while he was in prison, and he would ship them out to people, like fans. Like people were fans of John Wayne Gacy. They would send him letters in the mail, and he would send back like, he would get paid for it too. The guard would pay him money. So like he had like, if you look on the internet, I'll pop a couple pictures up. He has paintings floating around. He did like a couple thousand paintings. There's the one most famous one is him like dressed in a clown outfit, and he's just holding balloons, and it's like him dressed up in his clown gear. And if you didn't know, the movie It, Pennywise, is based off of him when he was off the clown. And also, there's one he did, it was called the Dahmer skull. It was supposed to be like off of Jeffrey Dahmer, and it was basically like a skeleton, and he has like blood on his teeth. I'll pop a picture right here. A lot of people have those, and dude, people pay crazy amount of money for that. So it's crazy how like we missize crazy people. He died by the injection instead of the electric chair. Yeah, he was a piece of shit, dude. It's crazy. And this is his last meal, so I guess we'll try like a strawberry and shit. But it's just crazy how get away with that shit. Like, it's crazy. One of the stories I heard like when I was watching the show, I did watch the show, they're entertaining. There was like a young boy working in a it was like a grocery store, I'm pretty sure. And a girl that was running the cashier, she wanted a jacket. So he was like, all right, I'll get you my jacket. So she went, got him his jacket, gave her the jacket, and John Gacy was outside. He's like, I'll be right back. There's a guy out here, and John Gacy was in the instruction sites and stuff like that. So he went out there, talked to John Gacy, and the girl didn't realize because the store was busy. Hours and hours and hours were going by. And when she started closing up shop, she was like, where did he go? So she walked back there and he was gone. John Gacy ended up taking him. Got taken. It was his mom's birthday that night, so the mom came there and they knew something was wrong because he would never miss his mom's birthday. So John Gacy ended up getting him. I don't know if he was one of John Gacy's first victims, but it's just crazy how you can be alive one day and gone the next. Like, it is crazy. And serial killers are still around. Like, you know how many people probably back then in the 70s that are still roaming, that are like, that kill people that they never got caught? From this, we'll go to Jeffrey Dahmer's. And if you guys don't know Jeffrey Dahmer, I'll teach you guys a little bit about him, but you should. He's like the most known serial killer I ever heard. Like, everybody knows Jeffrey Dahmer, especially because the show last year was like popping off. Let's go to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Luigi.
Oh yeah, all right. So let's go to the next.
Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, murdered and dismembered 17 men and boys, shocking the world with the extent of his crimes, which including cannibalism and necrophilia. Jeffrey's jail time was cut short after being beaten to death by a metal bar in prison by another inmate. His last words were, "I don't care if I live or die, go ahead, kill me."
Already who Jeffrey Dahmer is. Jeffrey Dahmer was Milwaukee, they called him the Milwaukee Monster. He was a cannibal. He killed, ate, and dismembered his victims. He had a killing of 17 young men. So what he would do is he would go to nightclubs, like gay nightclubs, and he would go in there, rizz up, and he would take these guys back and he would take advantage of them. One of the guys he ended up killing was like a 13-year-old boy, and he drilled like a hole into his head and filled it up with something. He wanted like his own zombie, like somebody that can never leave him. So he like drilled a hole into this 13-year-old boy's head, and the 13-year-old boy actually one day he got out. The cops was like, who is this? He was just saying like, this is my friend. He's just drunk. Like, he needs to go back and home. Like, he needs to come back home. Like, he's just my friend. And there was a couple of girls out there at the time, and they were telling the police officers that no, this kid needs help. He's a young kid. So they didn't want to hear their side of the story. Go back to your house and you guys will just be home safe. I'm not worried about this. Let's go, just be home safe. So they ended up going back and he ended up killing that boy. So it's crazy. Like, the cops, if they would have listened, they would have found Jeffrey Dahmer 10 times earlier. This is not Jeffrey Dahmer's last meal, because if you guys known, Jeffrey Dahmer actually died in prison. He got killed. He got hit with like a metal bar like in his fucking face. This one prisoner just like killed him. He killed him bad. It was like bashed his whole skull open and everything. So Jeffrey Dahmer died in prison. So he technically did not have a last meal, but this was his last meal he ate in prison that day before he did end up dying. So just the grilled cheese, you guys are probably like, why the fuck do you not have a top to the grilled cheese? We're broke. You know what I mean? It's that plain and simple. But also it's prisoner food, so like, what do you think prisoner food would look like? That's a depressing ass grilled cheese if you ask me. Bro, he had tubs of people in his apartment, and one of his neighbors, she smelled it like the whole time she was living next to him. She smelled the rotten flesh of the people. She would noise complaints of fucking electric tools, power tools, all this stuff. She would hear it, smell nasty shit. He was always throwing out the trash. Little do you know, he was killing people. So it was crazy to think that like this girl was literally neighbors with this guy, and one of his victims actually did end up getting away. If you look it up, you can see this whole side of the story. He was in like court with Jeffrey Dahmer, all that stuff. It's crazy. And I think recently the dude that ended up getting away from Jeffrey Dahmer ended up killing somebody, like not that long ago. Like, let me look that up. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's crazy. So if you guys see here, Edwards, he was charged with homicide and he pleaded guilty, and this was in 2022, so it was like recent. Look, his only, you guys look in there, like his only survivor that got away from Jeffrey Dahmer ended up killing somebody. So what's the fucking odds of that, bro? You see it, Dom? That's like crazy to think, bro. Like the dude that got away is killing people now. That's fucking wild. So enough of Jeffrey Dahmer. Let's go to Aileen Wuornos.
Aileen Wuornos was an American serial killer and prostitute who shot, robbed, and killed several men who would pick her up along the highway. Despite her saying that these men were assaulting her, she was still sentenced to death. Before lethal injection, the officers asked her, "What would you like for your last meal?" She said nothing. So instead of that, they gave her a cup of coffee.
Walker from hell, damsel of death, was a sex worker who operated along Florida's Interstate 75. Her killing spree took place between 1989 and 1990.
Aileen Wuornos was a prostitute. Fuck, I got that fucking Jeffrey Dahmer fucking cheesesteak stuck in my throat. Hold up. Fuck. Alright, so Aileen Wuornos was a prostitute in Florida. They called her the prostitute of hell. Aren't they all? So she killed 7 men. They were basically her client. 22 cal pistol to kill them all. So she had 7 victims, and it's crazy because the 7th victim, the body was never found. So I don't know, like that's crazy, like to think about how does she never find like that body? That's wild. But yeah, for her last meal, she said nothing. So most of the time it's crazy. Most of the people that say nothing, they end up getting something, but it's like the officers or like whoever's in charge is their choice. So she ended up just getting a cup of coffee because, like I said before, she didn't choose anything. So they just gave her a cup of coffee. Yeah, so I guess it's a good last meal. I would die depressed, bro, if I drank this for like my last meal. It's a depressing ass last meal. For this, the next one's kind of weird. So let's go over to James Edward Smith.
James Edward Smith was a former priest. In a robbery, he shot and killed someone by shooting them fatal in the chest. In jail, he got the lethal injection.
Smells like 10 counts of bounce that ass, bro. Smell this. Holy shit. His breath smelled like. You know that teacher is like, hey, I'm on fuck. Everybody knows, bro. Let me know in the comments, bro. I'm a dude, the kindergarten, bro, I was in like middle school, bro. The teachers used to have stank digit breath, bro. They used to be like, hey, ooh. I used to fucking go to sleep crying, bro. They're like, you need help with that question. I'm like, oh, fuck. Now I don't. I'm good. I'm gonna fail this test. So James Edward Smith, he was super big in black magic and like voodoo and all that type of stuff, like into like the spiritual black magic voodoo type world. He was super big in like I said, rituals and stuff. So when they asked him what he wanted for his last meal, he said a pile of dirt. And the officers were like, he wanted a specific type of pile of dirt that he could do black magic with. So the officers were like, no, we're not gonna do that. So good on them. He didn't end up getting a pile of dirt. He ended up getting yogurt. So he got yogurt instead. This is what they ended up giving him. Same with the girl before. She didn't want a last meal, so they ended up giving her coffee. Kind of same here. He wanted dirt, but they ended up giving him this because the reason why he wanted dirt is because in the ritual and like the voodoo type world, the type of dirt he wanted was gonna be like this dirt that he thinks that would leave his body here and not he wouldn't become a ghost. Basically, that's what he thought from eating the dirt. So he ended up getting yogurt. I don't even know if he ended up eating the yogurt. Yogurt's so mid. But he also died by the lethal injection. So yeah, I just think like putting someone to death row, I feel like it's more painful to live through prison instead of just dying. You know what I mean? Like if they did so crazy crimes, they should just rot in prison. That's what I think. Death row was like an easy way out in a weird way.
Victor Fager killed and kidnapped a doctor chosen at random. Authorities believe that Fager killed the doctor to gain access to the drugs that he might have had for his patients. He was then put to death by hanging.
Alright, so this is Victor Fager. I don't know if I'm saying that right. His name's kind of confusing. He just wanted a pitted olive because he thought if he got a pitted olive and he swallowed it whole, that when he dies and they bury him into the grave, that a cool olive tree would come out. And if you think about it, that is kind of a cool idea. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like a peaceful way to go out. Like it's kind of meant like he wanted to do it because he wanted to show people that he was at peace when he died. Like an olive tree would come out and he would show that he's at peace when he died. So it's kind of cool to think about. You know what I mean? This is like such a depressing last meal too. And when he ended up dying, they ended up finding the olive pit in his pocket. So yeah, so it's crazy. Also, he died like a long time ago, so when he did ended up dying, they ended up just hanging him. He didn't get the electric chair or he didn't get the lethal injection. They ended up just hanging him. So this is like a depressing ass last meal, but swallow the pit. Hopefully an olive tree grows on my ass in the morning. So boys, we're gonna start wrapping up the video. Let me know in the comments down below what your last meal would be, and what would you like to die from? The lethal injection, or the maybe hanging, or fucking the electric chair? My last meal would be the Philly roll sushi, a coffee, green sweet tea, some coffee ice cream, some pepper shooters, and maybe a steak. Probably something like that. And the way I would die is probably just getting suffocated by like a big fat booty. That's how, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's like an option, but if it is, like maybe me and the guard could work something out. Boys, let me know down below what your last meal would be. Let me know down below. And also let me know if you guys would get the lethal injection or you get the electric chair. All right, let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. What the fuck should I say? Yeah, I'll just see you guys in the next video. Happy Halloween. Fucking rap.
He did the mash. It caught on in a flash. He did the mash. He did the monster mash.